Okay, good morning to everyone. I think yesterday we discussed PCNF and PDNF. So now, the next topic, I think the slide is visible to you. Okay. Okay. Suppose if you have any doubts, I can't write in the slide. Suppose if you have any doubt, okay, so I will use this slide and then I'll write theory of inference. So theory of inference is concerned with inferring of a conclusion from a certain hypothesis or basic assumption. Okay. So this basic assumption is called premises. By applying certain principles of reasoning, okay, is called rules of inference. This is somewhat what is inference theory. Okay. Now you can see. I think you studied this one already. Let A and B be two statement formula. B logically follows from A. B logically follows from A, or B is valid conclusion of the premise A if and only if A implies B is what? A tautology. So A implies B is a tautology. Then we say that what? B is a valid conclusion from the premise A. So in this case, actually I told that already. I will write here. If A implies B, A implies B is tautology, so I cannot minimize this one. Somebody is whether he okay. I think I gave escape button, but still it is not coming out. I don't know why. Okay, so I don't know. So first I'll finish the class. Maybe I think some of them newly came. I don't know whether he or she joined or not. Okay, I just want to admit him. Okay, so now A implies B is tautology. Suppose this is tautology, then you can write A tautologically imply B. So this is they are telling actually. Okay, wow. A implies B is tautology. Then A tautologically implies what? B. So here, uh, so B, B logically follows from A, or B is a valid conclusion from the premises A if and only if A implies B is what? Tautology, and it is denoted by, I think it's stuck. Yes, and it is denoted by A tautologically implies what? B. Okay. So next, extending a conclusion C, extending this idea. Okay, extending this idea. Conclusion C is said follow from uh, is said to follow from a set of premises H1, H2, Hn if H1 and H2 and dot 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 and Hn tautologically implies what? C. So you should remember the last line. Okay, wow. So now rules of okay, what is the last line? Uh, a conclusion C is said to follow from a set of premises H1, H2, Hn if H1 and H2 and up to what? And Hn tautologically implies C. So that means what? This implies okay, well, C is a tautology. So that is the meaning. Okay, we'll go to the next slide. Rules of inference. There are two rules. First rule is rule P. So rule P is what? Any given premise may be introduced at any step in the derivation. So that is rule P. So you should remember this. So a given premise may be introduced at any step in the derivation. Okay. Next, rule T. Rule T is a formula S may be introduced in a derivation. If S is tautologically implied by one or more preceding formulas in the derivation. So again, I'll repeat rule T. A formula S may be introduced in a derivation uh, if S is tautologically implied by one or more preceding formulas in the derivation. Okay. Next, rule CP. So rule CP is called a conditional proof. If a formula S can be derived from another formula R and a set of premises, then the statement R implies S can be derived from the set of premises alone. So what it implies? Okay, a formula S can be derived from another formula R and set of premises. Okay, for example, a formula S is derived from R and set of premises maybe, okay, set of premises maybe H1, H2, Hn, okay, and H1 set of premises is what? H1, H2, and so on. If you derive S from, okay, or S from uh, R and set of premises, then you can derive R implies S. Then you can derive R implies S from the set of premises alone. From the set of premises alone. So that this is what they are telling here. Okay. And then note, if the conclusion is of the form the conclusion is of the form or implies yes, we will take or as an additional premises. So, okay, this is the conclusion. Then we should take or is what as an additional premise, and derive yes, this yes, using the given premises and or. Okay, wow. So that is h1 comma h2 comma, so comma means actually this is and. Okay, wow. h1 and h2 and hn and or implies yes is same as if I proved this one, this is equivalent to what h1, the set of premises alone tautologically implies what or implies yes, as I explained in the board, in this board. Okay. Next, inconsistent premises. A set of premises or formula h1, h2, hn is said to inconsistent if their conjunction implies a contradiction. So that is h1 and h2 and hn tautologically that is what contradiction. You will get a contradiction. The set of premises is said to be consistent. That is if it is not inconsistent. Okay. So indirect method of proof. Let the premises be h1, h2, hn and the conclusion be capital C. In order to show that the conclusion C follows from the premises h1, h2, hn by this method, so we assume C is false. Okay, well, we assume C is false and include, okay, well, so don't bother about this paragraph. Directly, I will tell what you need to do. Okay, so so h1, h2 indirect method of proof, h1, h2, hn. This is a given premises. This is the conclusion. So we need to prove the conclusion by using indirect method of proof. So in order to prove h1 and h2 and hn tautologically implies C, okay, well, so it is enough to prove h1 and h2 and hn and negation of the conclusion implies the false contradiction. So that means what inconsistent. So then I then that is equal to prove what this set of premises alone what C. So to prove this, we will prove this. Okay. So from the given set of premises, we should assume one more premises what negation of the conclusion, and finally we will conclude what that is a contradiction. Okay, so then this given premises gives what a conclusion C. So rules of inference. So you should remember these some of the rules. The first one, P comma Q implies P. This is called simplification. Similarly, P comma Q implies Q. Sometimes I will use Q. This is also simplification. P comma Q implies what? P and Q. Okay, tautologically imply. This is conjunction. P comma P comma P implies Q. Okay, well, P comma P implies Q. Tautologically implies what? Q. This is called modus ponens. Next, negation Q comma P implies Q. Tautologically implies negation P. Actually, this is modus tallness. Actually, what here I will write here, I will explain how this is coming. Fifth one, negation Q comma P implies Q. P implies Q. Okay. So now I'll keep negation Q comma. So P implies Q is same as what? Negation Q implies negation P. Now we know that P comma, just now we saw that fourth one maybe P comma P implies Q tautologically imply what? Q. So using this is actually what P. This is what P implies Q. So from these two, we have what negation P. So that's why they are telling directly. That's why they are telling directly negation Q, comma P implies Q is what negation P. Okay. Next, P implies Q, comma Q implies R, tautologically implies P implies R. Okay. So this is called hypothetical syllogism. Sometimes I will use HS. HS means hypothetical syllogism. Or you can write this one. Next one, P or Q, comma, negation P implies Q. So how we will get this one? P or Q, comma, negation P or P or Q, comma, negation P. Negation P implies what? Q. So how to get this one? So we know that P or Q is what? Negation P implies what? Q. Okay, comma, this one will keep. So now P implies Q. Okay, this is P. This is P implies Q. So P implies Q. Okay, you can write negation P, comma, negation P implies Q. Implies what? Q. So that's why we have this one. Okay. Okay. Now this is called a disjunctive syllogism. And I think this one already you know that P implies Q is what? Negation P or Q. And the P implies Q. This is contrapositive. This one is contrapositive. P implies Q is equivalent to negation Q implies what? Negation P. So important key formulas used in the problems. Uh, First one, P comma Q is equivalent to P and Q. Suppose if I have P comma Q, you can write what? P and Q. Suppose if you have P and Q, you can write what? P, or also you can write what? P and Q implies what? P or P and Q implies Q. So both way you can write. This is called conjunction. So P comma P implies Q. So that is we saw that in the previous slide also. P comma that means P and P implies Q. That is the meaning. This is one way. This is two way. Okay, this is equivalent. This is tautologically implied. So this is one side. P comma P implies Q is what? Q. But Q does not imply this one. So this is called the modus ponens. Next, P implies Q, comma Q implies R is equivalent to P implies R. That is, you know that this is hypothetical syllogism. Next, P implies Q is equivalent to negation P or Q. P implies Q is equivalent to negation P or Q. Okay. Next, this is also you know that contrapositive. P implies Q is equivalent to negation Q implies what? Negation P. This is called contrapositive. So now we'll go to the problem. Okay. So show that the premises P implies Q. First one, P implies negation Q and R lead to the conclusion negation P. So this is the conclusion. So first we will write what is the premises. P implies Q, P implies negation Q and R. So what is the conclusion? Conclusion is negation P. So first put a serial number and statement reason. So R, I am taking the given premises. So if I take the given premises, you can write what? That is what? Rule P. And then second one. This is also a given premises. P implies negation Q. So that is also rule P. Now next P comma P implies Q. Okay, wow. So if I use any uh, uh, formula, okay, well, then you should write what? Rule T. Okay, so P comma P implies Q is negation Q. So I'll write directly what? Negation Q. But here you should write what? Rule T, because you are using the formulas. And what is the formula they are writing? Modus ponens. So there is no need to write modus ponens. Okay, so you should tell what is modus ponens. That means P comma P implies Q tautologically imply uh, Q. So it is better to write like this, and 1 and 2, because these two you are using. Which one you are using? Okay, next you should remember we need to finally prove what? Negation Q. Okay, so even you can write the second one is first one is second. So the order is immaterial, but it should be logically you should write. And next which one I can use? Okay, next only one. P implies Q is there. Okay, I need to use P implies Q. Okay, wow. So P implies Q, but the conclusion is negation P. So that's why I'm thinking, okay, suppose if I use contrapositive, so contrapositive means what? P implies Q is what? Negation Q implies negation P, and then negation Q implies negation P is what? Negation P. So you need to okay, well, how the thing is how to use the premises. You need to think a little bit, and then okay, P implies Q is equivalent to what? Negation Q implies negation P. So this is called the rule T, because you are using the formula, and you are using for this. What is the formula you're using? Contrapositive. Contrapositive means what? P implies Q is equivalent to what? Negation P implies negation Q. Okay. Next, P implies Q is equal to negation Q implies negation P. Yes. Next, 3 and 5. This is P. P implies Q. So P implies Q is negation P. That's all. This is called rule T. So modus ponens. Don't write modus ponens. Write P comma P implies Q implies what? Q. So 3 and 5. So that's so this is a simple problem. Next, we'll move to the second problem. Using rules of inference, show that SRR is tautologically implied by P or Q, comma P implies R, comma Q implies S. So these three are set of premises. This is the conclusion. So premises, these three are premises. So conclusion is S union R. Okay. So first, so P or Q. So we are taking P or Q, rule P. So P or Q, okay. So we know that this is equivalent to what? Negation P implies Q. So because uh, that is these two are equal, because negation P implies Q is what? P implies Q is negation P or Q. So these two are equal. Next, rule T comma 1 you are using, and Q implies yes. There is rule P. Now P implies Q, Q implies yes. Now negation P implies what? Yes. So negation P implies yes. That is rule T. Hypothetical syllogism. Don't write like this. You can write P implies Q, comma Q implies R implies P implies R, and using what? 2 and 3. Next, why they are using contrapositive here? The reason is uh, we need still we don't use what? P implies R. That is in our hand. Okay, well, still I don't use P implies R. Okay, well, okay. Now in this step we should think we need to find what? S implies R. Okay, well, So S implies R, that is equivalent to what? Negation S implies what? R. So negation S implies R means, okay, somewhere else I need negation S. So that's why if I apply contrapositive here, okay, contrapositive, okay, so we'll get what? Negation S implies negation of negation P is P. This is rule T, this is rule T and contrapositive, and this is 4. Okay, now still I don't use what? P implies what? R. Okay, so P implies R, that is a rule P. Okay, the previous one is what? Previous one is negation S implies P. Okay, negation S implies P. Now P implies R. So from 5 and 6 we have negation S implies what? R. That is rule T, and we are using 5 and 6. And the hypothetical syllogism is P implies Q, comma Q implies R is P implies R. Okay, now negation S implies R is nothing but what? S R R. That's all. This is rule T you are getting from 7. So if you have any doubt, you can ask to me. Otherwise, can we proceed? Okay. 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 Show that. So I think escape button now it is working. So I don't have a. Yes, thank you. Sometimes the escape button is not working. That's why. Okay. Okay. If I put a full screen, I have some problem now. Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Yes. So show that T and S can be derived from the premises P implies Q, comma Q implies negation R, comma R, comma P R T and S. Okay, so this is a set of premises. This is the conclusion we need to prove. Okay, now premises is these are the premises. Conclusion is T and S. So the question is which one I need to use first. So it is coming only by practice first of all. Okay, but you should know some of the examples. From this you can think, and you may change the order also. Okay, because it is very difficult to remember the exam. Okay, because you are going to write the exam. Okay, understanding concept is slightly different from writing the exam. First understand and then practice more. Okay, now P implies Q I am taking. Next Q implies what? Negation R. So then automatically you will get what? P implies what? Negation R. Okay. So P implies negation R. This is rule T, and you are using what? 1 and 2 hypothetical syllogism. That is P implies Q, comma Q implies R is what? P implies R. Okay. Next, என்ன யூஸ் பண்ணலாம்? Which one you can use? ஓகேவா? So that is a question. We can use R. ஓகேவா? ஏன்னா R இன்னும் யூஸ் பண்ணல. Still we are using out of 4 premises we are using only 2. ஓகேவா? So we cannot use again these two, here. So you can use R or you can use this. So from my point of view, if I use R and then if I use contrapositive, so then what will get? R implies what? Negation P. So R comma R implies negation P is what? We'll get negation P. So that is my guess. Okay. Now, okay. The first they will use contrapositive. Okay. When we use contrapositive means negation of negation R is what? R implies what? Negation P. Now they are taking this what? This R. Next slide. Okay. This is rule T. and they are using 3 contrapositive. Now they are taking R from here premises, that is rule P. Now P comma P implies Q is what? Negation P, that is rule T. Negation P, that is rule T, and that is 4 comma 5. Next, P and T and C, that is you can see here P R T and C. P R T and C is here. This is a premise, given premise. So that's why rule P. Okay. Next, this one from 7. P R Q. You can write what? Negation P implies what? Q. Okay. Because these two are equivalent. 7 and 8 are equivalent. Because negation P implies Q every along. Negation of negation, that is P or Q. You can write. Now 6 and 8. So P comma P implies Q. Okay. So the step 8 is very crucial. So how to, because here you don't okay. Now you need to think what is the conclusion. The conclusion is what? T and S. So I need to get T and S. Okay. So if I have like this, then you can use what? P comma P implies Q is what? T and S. So from 7, you need to write what? Negation P implies T and S. And then using 6 and 8, P comma P implies Q is what? Q, that is T and S. So that is rule T, modus ponens, MP na, that you should write what? Instead of MP, P comma P implies Q is tautologically imply Q, and using 6 and 8. So this is the final conclusion we need, T and S. Okay. So next, show that P implies Q and R implies S, comma. So this is H1, this is H1, this is what? H2, this is H3, this is H4. Okay. Conclusion is what? Negation P. Solution. First write the premises. There are 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, 4 premises. Conclusion is what? Negation P. Now I'll take the any one of the premises. I will take the first one here. P implies Q and R implies S. That is rule P. Now, so here I told that P and Q, okay, is equivalent to P. Similarly, P and Q is equivalent to what? You can write what? Q also. So that I told already. Similarly, yes, P and Q, they are writing what? Q. That is rule T. Rule T, 1, you are using 1. Next, which one we can use? P implies Q, R implies S. Okay. Still, we have 3 more premises. Okay. So, okay. Next, Q implies T and S implies U. We'll use. So, Q implies T and S implies U. That is rule P. So, again, I think you can write what? P and Q implies what? P and Q implies Q. Using this, you'll get what? Q implies T, that is rule T, and then S implies what? U. So that is also rule T. Okay, still, okay, now 2 and 5. They are telling 2 and 5. What is 2 and 5? Yes. P implies Q, Q implies T. You'll get what? P implies T. Okay, P implies T, and then next, R implies U. So why we get R implies U from 3 and 6? What is 3? 3 is R implies S. 3 is R implies S. And 6 is S implies U. So R implies S, comma S implies U is what? R implies U. So that's why we have R implies U here. Next, P implies R. So that is the given premises. You can check it. P implies R. P implies R is a given premises. Okay. So rule P. Now P implies R implies S. Okay. What is the conclusion we need? P implies U. I don't know. Okay, we'll check it. What is the conclusion? A little bit later. I think I explained up to this. Now, P implies R implies U is what? P implies U. P implies U from 8 and 9. Next, from 7 and 10. 7 and 10. P implies T. P implies U. Okay, which is equivalent to what? P implies uh, T and U. So we can check it. Is it correct or not? P implies T, P implies U is equal to what? P implies T and U. I think we discussed already. P implies T. Okay, look at the sixth one. P implies Q and P implies R is equivalent to what? P implies Q and R. So this is already we discussed. That's why we should know all the formulas. So P implies Q and this is same. Okay, this is same. P is same. First one is same. Second one is what? Here Q, here R is equivalent to P implies Q and R. So it's the same thing here. 710. Check it. P implies T. P implies T. First one is same. 10 one. 10th also P and here also P. Here what? T. Here what? U. So using that rule, P implies what? T and U. Okay, but the thing is, you should know in this place you should use this rule. Okay, so I'll strike that should strike in your mind. Okay, always keep what is the conclusion in your mind. You should write somewhere else. So this is the conclusion I need. So you are going towards the conclusion. So now this is P implies Q is what? Is equal to negation P implies negation Q, contrapositive. So now rule P. So this is also a one of the premises. We'll check it. Negation of T and U. Negation of T. Negation of T and U is also one of the premises. Okay, negation of T and D is one of the premises. Now P implies Q. We'll get what? Negation P. So this is the final answer. So you can try the same problem because this is a little bit lengthy, 14 steps. You can try in some other order. Okay, don't take the set of premises in the same order. You can try in slightly different way and try to get negation P, but logically. Okay, next problem. This is H1, this is H2, H3. There are three premises and conclusion is what? D. So premises P implies, A implies B and A implies C. First premises and the negation of B and C. And third one, D or A. So conclusion is D. Okay, given statement. So I will take the first one, rule P. Now maybe I will use P and Q. P and Q implies what? P. Similarly, P and Q implies what? Q. So maybe check it. Yes. A implies B and then what? A implies C. Okay. Now I need D. I need D. So still I have what? These two. So which one I can use first? Okay. Okay. Now A implies B, A implies C. So that just now I told that. Okay. P implies Q, P implies R means what? P implies Q and R. So similarly we can try. I think so. Yes. A implies what? B and C. Rule T and 2 and 3. Here I have what? Negation of B and C. So that's why I am using this. So what is in the premises? You should think. Depending upon the premises, you should use the rules here. Okay. So now I'm going to write P implies Q is equal to what? Negation. P implies Q is contrapositive use பண்ணும்போது negation P implies Q is equal to what? Negation Q implies negation P. So if I get the negation of this and then I will introduce this one, then I will get negation A. Okay. So now contrapositive. So negation of B and C implies what? Negation A. Now I will take this premises, the next step. That is negation of what? B and C. So in the previous slide, you can see here, negation of, this is what? P implies Q. Actually P, this is P, this is P, this is what? P implies Q. So P comma P implies Q is what? Negation A. Negation A, we are getting from 5 and 6. So we got negation A. So what is the conclusion we need? Again, conclusion is what? D. Still I don't use what? D or A. So I will introduce what? Here D or A. Next D or A. Okay. Now D or A is equivalent to negation D implies what? A. Negation D implies A. That is rule T. Now apply contrapositive because I need D. Okay, I need D. So if I use contrapositive, what will get? Negation A implies what? D. So here negation A is here. So P comma P implies Q, will get what? Q. Okay. Next step, contrapositive. So negation of A implies what? Negation of negation D is D. Now this is P. This is P implies Q. So you'll get a D directly. So that's a rule T. And what? Using what? 7 and 10. So now next problem, we need to show that the premises H1, H2, H3 are inconsistent. Okay. So inconsistent means I told that H1 and H2 and H3 will give what? Contradiction. Okay, the given premises. So you should write the 3 premises and then conclusion you need to show what? F, contradiction. So then the set of premises is what? Inconsistent. First one, I'll choose the last one here. So it is depending upon what we need. Okay. So A and D. So maybe P and Q implies what? P. So A and D implies what? A. Okay. Similarly, A and D implies what? D. Okay. And then maybe I will use what? Next. A implies B implies C because here I have A. Okay. A implies B implies C. I will take rule P. Now A comma A implies B implies C is what? B implies C. B implies C. Okay. Next, maybe here I have D. Here you have what? D implies what? B and negation C. So D comma D implies this portion. You will get what? B and negation C. Maybe you'll check it. Yes, I will use rule P. Already we have in the previous slide we have what? D. So now D comma D implies this quantity is what? B and negation C. Now still what you need? Okay. We need A and we need a contradiction. So up to this step we got it. We need a contradiction. Okay. Okay. Now this is actually what? So B and negation C, and I got what? B. Similarly, B and negation C, I'll get what? Negation C. Okay. Now I need C. So how to get C? B comma B implies C is what? C. Now I have, this is considered A, this is considered B. A comma B implies what? That is A and B. Okay. Suppose if you have A and B, you can write what? A. A and B, you can write what? B. Okay, I will write here. So A comma B. So okay, A and B. Sorry. A and B is equivalent to, you can write what? A. Okay. Similarly, you can write, you can write what? A comma B. Suppose you have A and B, then you can write what? A and B. you have A comma B, you can write what? A and B. So these two are equivalent. So now negation C already you have, that is from where? Rule T. Rule T na எதுல வந்தது 7ல வந்தது ஓகேவா because yes from this I have B, from this I have what? Negation C. Now B comma B implies C is what? C. Now C comma negation C, you can write what? C and the negation C. That is contradiction. So C comma C and this C comma negation C. Rule T 9 and 10, you'll get what? C and negation C. That is false. So you get a contradiction. So if you get a contradiction means the given set of premises is what? Inconsistent. Okay. Now the next problem is also comes under inconsistent. There are 4 premises. First write the premises. Conclusion should show F. First I'll take P implies Q, and then maybe P implies R you can take. No, I think they are taking what? This one. Q implies negation R. Okay, third one. Now P implies Q, Q implies R is what? Negation R. P implies negation R. P implies negation R. That is rule T, and you are using 1 and 2. You are using 1 and 3 already. Maybe you will use this time P. Maybe yes, P. Because I have what? P implies negation R. Now P comma P implies Q is what? Q, that is negation R. We'll get, okay, negation R. Still I don't use what? Q implies negation R. So maybe I will introduce that one. Okay, rule P. Rule P is what? P implies R. Yes, P implies R. That is rule P. Still, that is the last premises I am going to use. Okay, still I have in my hand, I have what? Negation R is here. So that's why P implies R. You can write using contrapositive, you can write what? Negation R implies negation P. So the fifth one is what? Negation R. I think so. Fifth one is what? Negation R. So fifth one is negation R. Seventh one is what? Negation R implies negation P. Using 5 and 7, so you'll get what? Negation P. Using 5 and 7. Okay, now I need a contradiction. Okay, wow. Whether we have P anywhere else, check it. Yes, I have P here. Okay, wow. 4 la P irukku. I think 4 la P and then 8 la negation P. So P comma negation P implies what? Contradiction. Okay, P comma negation P from 4 and 8 you will get what? P and negation Q, negation P, that is false. That's over. Show that B can be derived from the premises A implies B, C implies B, D implies A or C, and D by indirect method. Okay, I'll check it. Indirect method. Okay. Okay, so I'll start. So indirect method means you should take show that B. Okay, wow. So direct method means you should assume what? You should assume 1, 2, 3, 4. From these 4, you will get what? B. Indirect method means you should add one more premises. That is you should assume negation of the conclusion as additional premises, and then finally you get what? Contradiction. So that is the idea here. So you should assume what? Negation of the conclusion as an additional premises, and then you should find what? Prove what? Contradiction. Okay. So by indirect method, we consider negation of the conclusion as an additional premises. So premises are what? A implies B, C implies B, D implies A or C, and D, and actually the conclusion is what? B. So you should assume Negation of the conclusion is additional premises. So conclusion, we need to show that what? F, contradiction. So first one, A implies B, that is rule P. And then maybe I will use next one, negation B use பண்ணலாமா? இல்ல. So they are using what? C implies B. Okay. So A implies B, C implies B. So okay. Now 1 and 2. Okay. So A implies B. These two are same. These two are same. This is different. Okay. So I think I will show the PDF. You can check it. These two are equivalent. A implies B, and why these two are same? Because this is P. This is consider this is P. Consider this is what? Q. So P comma Q implies what? P and Q. Similarly, P and Q, you will write what? P comma P. P comma Q. Okay. So this is P, this is Q. So P comma Q implies what? P and Q. Okay. Now why they need this one? Okay. Now rule T. I'm using what? Using which premises? A or C? Yes, from rule T from 3. Yeah. Okay. So 3. Yes. So actually here A implies B and C implies B. Okay. Wow. So this is equivalent to A or C implies B. Okay. I think these two are different. Okay. These two are different. Okay. And this is same. So I will show you A or C implies B. I will maybe okay. First one is different. Conclusion is same. Okay. The first one is different. Okay, you can see here. Seventh one. P implies R. Okay, and Q implies R. So here P and Q are different. R is what? Same. So then I be proved already. This is equivalent to what? P R Q implies what? R. Okay, P R Q implies R. The same thing they are using. Seventh one they will use here. Okay, P R Q. Sorry. So this is P implies I think yes, I'll check it again. P implies R, Q implies R. Yes. P implies R and what? Q implies R is equivalent to P R uh, Q implies R. Okay. There you have. This is actually what? P. This is R. This is what? Q. This is R. There. Here they have what? And. So, but here you have what? R. So P R Q implies what? R. R is what? B. So you should remember this rule. Okay. Now, next we used what? These two. Okay. Next maybe I will use this one. If I use this one, D implies A or C is what? If I use this one, you can directly write what? Using these two, D implies what? B. Okay, we'll check it. Yeah, D implies A or C. Now using 4 and 5, what is 4? A or C implies what? B. 4. 5 is D implies what? A or C. D implies A or C. Yeah, D implies A or C. So from this, what? Okay, how they are getting? Yes, this is what? P implies Q. You start from 5. P implies Q. That is D implies what? A or C. And then A or C implies what? B. First to 5 and then 4. So you'll get what? D implies B. Okay. Next, D. D is rule P. Rule P means it is given the premises, rule D. Now, D comma D implies B is what? B. Okay. Next, rule negation B is also given in the rule in the premises. That is additional premises. Negation B. So now negation B. Now this is P. This is Q. P comma Q implies what? P and Q. So B and negation B. That is contradiction. So that's all. So okay, I'll stop here. Rule CP we will discuss tomorrow. So okay, thank you for your participation, and if you have any doubt you can ask to me, otherwise we will discuss tomorrow. Thank you once again.